Hi, I'm April from gettingmyacttogether.com, and today I really wanted to talk about getting your mental act together. When I started this channel, my blog, all of it, it was because I was at a low point and I wanted to just have a place where I could just put together things that have to do with getting your act together. Because when I Googled that, I was like, literally, it was so low. It was 2020. All the kids were home from school. I have 4. I had 25 different teachers emailing me every day complaining about their cameras not being on. This isn't submitted. That isn't submitted. Meanwhile, I still had to feed everybody lunch. If you survive 2020 as a parent, then especially in a northern state where we didn't have school for a long time, you understand. So anyway, point is, I felt like I needed help getting my act together. Things were really rough. I felt like I was at the bottom. Yeah. Anyway, I got distracted by looking at my curtains. Okay, focus. So that's why I started this blog. And today, a lot of times I talk about organizing and decluttering, getting your house together. But today I really want to talk about your mental, spiritual act, which is really why I started this, and I just get distracted. But anyway, and my shirt, it says, "Today I choose joy." My mom got me this. I love this shirt. I wear it all the time. You'll see it in plenty of my videos. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about one strategy in particular that helped me keep my mental and spiritual act together during a really difficult move. 2020 we won't talk about right now any further because but I feel like I was a little more effective at handling challenges some different years. And so this was one thing I did. And I know that it's not, okay, I don't want to even say Bible journaling because it's not Bible journaling in the sense that we know Bible journaling where you, it's a really artsy, fun activity. This was me collecting Bible verses. I needed to collect them and organize my thoughts because, as you can see, I'm a little scattered, have a lot of different interests, and a little bit all over the place. My husband, when I started these are my binders. Now there's 2. There was always one for the first 10 years. When I started these, my husband was in Iraq, and I had 2 small children. They were both little boys. One was 2. Okay, I still have these little boys. Okay. It makes it sound like I don't have them. They're just not little anymore. They are in high school. So, but they were 2 and they were 1. And it was a handful. And I did 2 major things that'll make it through that year. I did 3 major things. One, I moved down to where my parents lived. And they helped me. They were on the team. They helped me all the time. It was such a lifesaver. If you're a military wife and you don't know if you should do that, I got to tell you, it was awesome. So I, not saying I have to. I had other deployments where I didn't, but it was awesome. Don't feel bad about going and living near your parents or with your parents. I've done that too. That's another story. So let's talk about the collecting Bible verses, because that was another thing I did to help me get through. And the third thing I did to help me get through was I did have to take Zoloft during that time. I wasn't depressed though. It was for anxiety. During that time, I was so worked up about getting through this deployment that I was not okay. Literally not okay. And I was just so on edge. I was hard for everybody to deal with. So that did help me. Now, after the deployment, I came off of it because I realized that it helped too much, like something bad would happen. On TV, there would be a helicopter accident. Alan, yeah, he rode, and most soldiers that went to Iraq during that time at some point were in a helicopter. You didn't know. And all these bad things were happening. And I was like, I should feel something about this. I should be, things that happen, I'd be like, I should feel sadness, and I can't feel sadness. Anyway, so I don't think it's great to be on those long term all the time, but that's just my opinion, and I don't know. Not a medical doctor, but that's how I handled it. And the other thing I did that really got me through, and it got me through so well that I still have these. I built on them since then, and I remember them so fondly. So now I look at these and I'm like, oh, these got me through a hard time. So they're precious to me. And it's not the books, it's the words in them. And then the books reminds me of the time I spent. And so it's all part of it. But yeah, I just took like little topics, and I'm going to start with encouraging words. And this isn't just encouraging words like trust in the Lord for yourself, encouraging words. I also would write down words that I thought would be encouraging to say to other people. For example, like a prayer, like, may he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. We will shout for joy when you are victorious, and we will lift up our banners in the name of our God. May God grant all your requests. Like, I was like, that's something, I would like remember to write on a card to somebody one day. So I put that under encouraging words. And then other things were words that were encouraging to me, and I would put those on there. But anyway, so this is it's not like a fancy, pretty, I'm not an artist. So it's just words on the page, but they're important words. Like, they're words that genuinely, this time in the Bible, time in God's word got me through that hard time. And that's not unique to me. It's that has been going on for ages, right? And then this thing got so full and I couldn't turn the pages, so I had to make a second one for the second half of the alphabet because I did alphabetize them. And look, yes, you can go on Google now, and we had Google back then too, okay? But you can go on Google now and type in Bible verses about fear, and it'll show you way more Bible verses about fear than let's see how many I wrote down. I wrote down 4, 7, 12. I wrote around about 18 Bible verses on fear, which fear at this point in my life and at the point that I wrote it wasn't a big struggle for me, but I still have a section for it. Anyway, it was another year it was a struggle for me, but we won't get into that today. So I lost my point. Oh yeah, fear. You could go on Google and Google this, and it might give you some, but it might not be the one that helped you a lot. It'll be the ones that helped some other person a lot. And that might be good. Like, that's fine too. I Google Bible verses all the time. Don't get me wrong. But this is a collection of verses that spoke to me when I read them, or taught me when I read them, and I wanted to save them for later. And so I call it my Bible verse collection. And I have my favorites, just like you do in any collection. And yeah. And if something happened to this collection, I could rebuild it again. So I just wanted to share that. This is what got me through a hard time. And not saying that everybody, when they're in a hard time, needs to get out a binder and a bunch of dividers and make a Bible journal. Because that's definitely not probably a normal thing to do. But I'm okay with doing things that aren't a normal thing to do. I think it's a great idea. And also, I think this is a useful way. Like, if there's something you're not sure about and you want to see what the Bible actually has to say about it, you hear so many things from society that aren't even true and have nothing to do with the Bible. So it's a great way to organize, like, if you're researching and deciding what you want to believe. Like, if you're figuring out if faith is for you, if you believe in God, the Bible, you're going to want to see what it says. And read that, and you can put your notes, like you could divide it up, God, Jesus, salvation, Holy Ghost, and put it in sections what it says about that. And I think that would be a great exercise for someone who's deciding what they believe. But these have really gotten me through mentally and spiritually, because it's really hard to be mentally healthy if you're not spiritually healthy. I don't know how people do that. I really don't. Like, I don't know how you get through life without the hope of knowing that God's got this, because bad things happen to everybody, and they're going to happen to me too. They have happened. They're going to happen. I know this. It's not faith in knowing that nothing bad's going to happen. It's a faith in knowing that when it does, that God's going to help you through that, and that there's a greater purpose. And if you live your life not feeling like there's a greater purpose, that just sounds hard to me. Like, I can't live that way. So I don't live that way. And this has been a humongous help to me. And so I just wanted to share it today. Big part of how I get my act together. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I should share a verse. that was really helpful to me. I have another year that I moved. We have moved like 13 times. It doesn't sound like that. It might not sound like that many when I just say it out loud, but if you write it down on paper, it's like almost every other year we moved, some years back to back. And this happens to a lot of military families, and not just military families. There's other professions that this happens to. And it is so hard. Like, it's the hardest thing I've been through as an adult, is the constant moving. I mean, some of the things that the kids have gone through were really hard too, but it's the repetitiveness of this particular challenge and not knowing where your home's going to be this summer. It's just so challenging. Then when you do, you're figuring out, like, who wants to be friends with you? Because not everybody does. But I need to stop thinking that way and just let that reveal itself. Okay, so I'm going to go to Joy, because the year that we moved to Georgia, I had a really hard time just holding on to Joy. I didn't have Zoloft that time. Alan wasn't deployed. He was still with us. My kids were all in school except for the youngest. And I don't know. It just shook me like a... And I needed help finding Joy. So one way I did that was I just went scavenger hunting through the Bible, circling the word joy everywhere I saw it. And I would write it down in my little book here. And there are a few really good ones. But this was one that I included in my blog post on the topic of encouraging Bible verses. And it's still one that I can't explain it. It just really speaks to me. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. He who goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow. So, like, this is a person who's crying, they're sad, they're distressed, they're mourning, but they're still going about trying to do their work. And that's huge for depression, because the more you dwell on your problems, the more you're feeding the depression. The depression craves that. Like, it just wants, it's like kids and sugar, just more and more and more, you know. So he goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow, and will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with him. So he goes, he still does his work. He returns with joy and the rewards of his work. So he's not going to be broke or hungry. And those are just so important to me. That's from Psalm 126, 5-6. It's just such an important word picture to me. I absolutely love that. And I've had a lot of times of melancholy, and this is just such an encouraging picture. Anyway, so just wanted to share that today, and I hope you are having a great day. I hope that you'll try getting into the Word and keep your head up, follow God, and keep going. Don't dwell on your problems, and it will be okay. You will be okay. I will be okay. It will be okay. Have a good day.